Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of my Selling My Closet 30-Day Challenge. And I am really excited to talk to you about what happened this past week, some more lessons learned, and an interesting sale. Let's go ahead and get into it. If you are new here, my name is Malika, and I'm a part-time reseller. I sell on Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, and Depop. And this is episode 4 in a series that I am doing to see how much money I can make trying to sell pieces out of my own closet. 3 weeks ago, I took y'all with me. We went through my closet, pulled out some things that I thought that I could sell as I was transitioning into my warmer weather clothes for spring and summer. And there were a total of 20 listings. And during that first week, I made 3 sales, which was fantastic. They were all on Poshmark. And I then had week 2 where I had 0 sales. And we talked about that last week. And that was when I really felt like I needed to do some reflection and reevaluation because I really started to think about the fact that I might be emotionally pricing some things. These are my clothes, stuff that I really like, my purses, wallets, all of that, shoes. And I had to give some consideration to whether or not I was pricing things incorrectly. Here we are now. We've completed week 3 of everything being listed. And during week 3, I had one more sale of the things that I listed. And that sale was these Cole Haan Grand Series pull-on sneakers. I did not expect this. This is not one of the things that I predicted would sell. So more than happy to have them sell, but I sure did not think that they would. So they did sell on eBay. And so that's the first thing of everything that I listed to sell on eBay. I did put everything on Poshmark and eBay only. I did not cross sell any more than that because I'm just trying to get to what would be the closest to certainly at least what my experience was as a new seller. And what I think is probably good when you're a new seller is to maybe try and focus on one platform, maybe dabbling into 2. So I only put these things on Poshmark and eBay. So anyway, it sold on eBay, sold for $17.99. So that takes our total tally of everything that has sold, which to recap has been the White House Black Market lavender skirt, which was also a surprise sale in the first sale, and then also the Marc Jacobs leather zip key pouch wallet, and then the Kate Spade leather bifold wallet. And in total, all of those things, the revenue was $100.99. And my earnings after Poshmark and eBay took out their fees, a total of $80.36. So not too bad at all to have $80 after 3 weeks of selling. I said this before when I had my first 3 sales that I think realistically, if I was fresh, brand new out of the gate, I would not have had 3 sales my first week. That's because I had existing closets and stores on Poshmark and eBay, and there was already a flow of things. But I do think that probably by this point, it's likely that those 3 sales would have been made. And that's consistent with at least what my experience was when I started. When I started, I had only put 3 things out on my very first listings, and then after about 4 weeks, I started to put out more things. But in that, it took me about 3 weeks to make my first sale. Yeah, so that's where we are, and I had some really interesting learnings during this period. I had said that I was going to go back and do some key activities. I was going to make sure all my listings were accurate. I was going to reflect on my pricing, and that I also was going to maybe try and do some more keywords and really try and beef up some of the keywords in my titles and see if that helped with the sales. So I have been consistent about listing every day. I have not changed my prices yet. I shared this last week that I had already gone through a round after everything was listed for a couple of weeks of reducing my prices. And I just felt like I'm just going to go ahead and keep things where they are now. And that may still be being emotional in my pricing, but so be it. That's where we're at. And I did do a little bit of work with the keywords, and I have noticed that there has been some additional viewing on some of the other pieces that hadn't been getting views before. So I also just want to say thank you to those of you who've been watching this series and commenting. I had a really great comment on last week's video about the emotional pricing thing, and it's that person giving me some validation for that. So I appreciate that, number one. But that person also mentioned that they have a really hard time selling their own things because they mostly have mall brands and just feel like it's harder to sell. And I completely get that. And I think that most of the clothes that I'm selling also are mall brands. And I think, sure, if we are going to expect things to sell for a lot, yeah, we're going to have a hard time with that. But I personally even pick up mall brands, certain mall brands for sure, like a Gap. I love to sell Gap. And then there's some other mall brands as well that I always like to have in my closet. But I'd be interested in hearing from others because I thought that comment was really helpful and good perspective that, if depending on what your business model is with your store, that you may be looking to sell things that are completely different than what your own clothes are. And part of my point in doing this series is more from the perspective of if you are brand new to reselling and you don't have any money to invest because going to the thrift store and really starting to build up inventory, it's going to take a little bit of money. And there's people out there that don't have even the 20, 30, $40 that may need to get started. And I thought this could be an interesting perspective to look at and see, hey, you can just look at what you have in your own closet, in your own house, because it doesn't even need to be things that you wear. It could be other things that you can sell that you could then get some money from that could get you started to start going out and actually purchasing things at the thrift store. So that was one of my primary drivers of doing this. I think that this is one of the best side hustles out there. I am such a big proponent of reselling. For those of you who do this full time, I salute you because I think it would be really hard to do this full time. And for me, I think it would be hard because of the unpredictability of the sales. I just would struggle to be reliant on that. But as a part time gig, this is amazing. I mean, and for someone like me who I do have a relatively flexible schedule, I'm at a point in my life where I have the time and the ability to be flexible. I'm older, I'm over 50. I am done the hardcore focused career thing, and I'm at a point where I want to do something that just feels like it's more for me and also being able to earn some extra money. So this to me is fantastic. And if you wanted to do this, but you didn't have much money to start, I just wanted to, I don't know, give a different perspective and through this challenge, see, hey, is it possible to actually collect enough money to then start your own reselling business? And so I think that it absolutely is possible. So that's where we are. I'm really happy about this sale. Happy that we've had 4 sales so far. We've got about 10 more days, 9, 10 more days left in this challenge. So next week's video, I will share what sold during the 4th week, and then I will come back the week after that and then just also share what sold during those last couple of days of the 30 days and what I'm going to do now with whatever money I made. So if you have made it this far, I so appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let me know in the comments too. I really appreciated some of the other people who've been sharing with me their thoughts along the way. So I'd love to hear more from more of you. Have you had success selling things out of your own closet? What do you think about selling things that maybe are at different tiers? Because I think I had a combination of lower tier things, mid tier, and some more higher end things, like, for example, like the Marc Jacob bags. And so I'm interested just to hear the perspective of other people about what kinds of things that you've had and what are your feelings about selling. Are you someone that is, I don't care, I'm going to sell different things at different levels? Or you feel like, I don't even like wasting my time with that. It must be maybe at least a mid-tier brand or something that has like a high sell-through rate. Love to hear about that too, because, on the topic of sell-through rates, I did a lot of paying attention to what other resellers said about what types of pieces have good sell-through rates and what don't. And I realized that that's really very individualized, or often can be, in terms of long term, because now I just pay attention to what has good sell through rates for me. And that is what I base what I buy on. I said something about Gap before. I mean, I think there's a lot of resellers out there who would tell you don't sell Gap, it doesn't really sell. I sell so much Gap, and it's not going to sell for the highest amount of money, but it sells consistently and reliably. And so I know that if I find a Gap piece that is relatively in style or classic, it's going to move. So I'm interested to hear if other people, do you feel the same way? What do you think of, how do you treat information like sell-through rates and all of that type of stuff? Okay, I'm going to wrap up. Please excuse the clutter that has been behind me. I am in the middle of still trying to get a lot of my inventory stacked up. My cat's been hanging out here. I don't know if you saw him over there through this video. He's taking a nap. But anyway, if you did enjoy this video, please do give me a like. And if you want to continue watching this series, please subscribe. I'd love to have you with me. I also do a weekly Sourced and Sold video every week that drops on Wednesdays, and I share everything that sold the previous week and some of my favorite things that I sourced during that same period. So if you like that kind of stuff, come and join me. And until the next time we are together, I hope you take care.